if I ask you what are the kinds of eye problems, it could be to do with retinopathy, or it could be even the massive hemorrhage that happens.
Right.
What are the kinds of problems that diabetics have to look out for when it comes to eyes?
Right. See, diabetes, whenever a patient is a diabetic, he is prone to diseases in the eye. May it be a type 1 type of diabetes, that is an insulin dependent diabetes, or insulin non-dependent diabetes.
Okay.
Now the type of problems a diabetic can encounter mainly would be cataract, glaucoma and diabetic retinopathy. Now the commonest of these problems is a cataract. I nowadays see cataracts occurring at a much earlier age of 40 to 45 years of age. We see florid or very aggressive diabetic retinopathies, or diabetes affecting the retina is known as diabetic retinopathy, which is really sight threatening, and the patient doesn't realize that he is having a diabetic retinopathy in the early stages, and he comes to us when he starts realizing that he's got a problem, and that is when the severe part of diabetic retinopathy is already set in. So what I would tell everyone is that after the age of 40, if you have a family history of diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol in the family, you are a high risk individual. You should get your eyes checked, not only for diabetes but also for these diseases, because these diseases of if you have diabetes, but if you couple it with hypertension or blood pressure or with high cholesterol, the severity of the disease doubles.
Doctor, you have said so many issues in that. Now, going one by one, how often should a diabetic go for eye checkups?
See, a diabetic today, I would recommend, or the American Diabetic Association recommends, that each diabetic should get a yearly check done, and if he is affected with diabetic retinopathy, depending on the severity, from 3 to 6 months he should get himself checked. And once the patient has got a diabetic retinopathy, he should also rule out other problems, other target organ problems like kidney involvement, heart involvement, because once we see the involvement of the retina and the blood vessels, we are sure that it has similarly affected the other organs in the body. In 90% of patients, when the signs and symptoms come, it's a late disease. So to detect diabetes, we require a prophylactic checkup. So I would say that just don't rely on your vision. If you feel your vision is good, don't feel that you don't have diabetes. That is the bottom line. The bottom line is that always get your eyes checked every year, irrespective of whether you have signs and symptoms. The commonest signs and symptoms which you have in diabetes is blurring of vision. If there is a vitreous hemorrhage or hemorrhage inside the eye, there is a sudden blurring of vision. But when does a vitreous hemorrhage occur? The vitreous hemorrhage occurs at the last stage of diabetic retinopathy. During the early stages of diabetic retinopathy, there may be just slight blurring of vision, frequent change of glasses because of fluctuation of sugars, distorted vision. Any signs and symptoms where you feel something is amiss or something which is different, you should always get your eyes checked.
Okay. Doctor, in case of eye defects and in case of eye problems for diabetes, how much is reversible?
Yeah. The earlier you detect the diabetes, the early part of the disease is reversible. Any disease, I would say even an early change in the number. Sometimes a diabetic who is having a frequent change of glasses, it is nothing but the sugars are not normal, and that's why he's getting a frequent change of glasses. So if he persists with that, that can move on to produce a cataract. But if a patient detects that his sugars are fluctuating and keeps it well controlled, then he can prevent not only cataract, but he can delay the onset of diabetic retinopathy, that is the affection of the retina because of diabetes, also slow down the process of diabetic retinopathy. And I would just like to add one more line, that diabetic people are more prone to glaucoma. Glaucoma is just a disease where the eye pressure increases, which is also a very silent disease, just like diabetic retinopathy. So, a patient having diabetes is almost double is the rate of incidence of glaucoma in a diabetic than a normal population. So you should get your eye pressure checked also every 1 year when you get your eyes checked. And that is definitely a part of the normal eye checkup which an eye surgeon does. You should ask for what is the eye pressure.
Okay. Doctor, in case of glaucoma, what are the actual symptoms? Is it about seeing colorful rings around lights? Is that a part of glaucoma?
Yeah. When the eye pressure rises, the patient does complain of halos and headache, and he sees colorful lights. But that could be also, colorful lights can be also because of cataract too. But as I told you, cataract, unlike cataract, glaucoma and diabetic retinopathy are a very silent or a very nascent disease. They don't have signs and symptoms at their onset.
Eye specialists like you often say that type 2 is more dangerous than type 1 for eyes. Do you see the same kind of trend even in your clinic where you find so many diabetics coming in?
I don't see any major difference between type 2 and type 1 diabetes. It is more to do with the control of diabetes. Previously, people used to think that type 2 or type 1 makes a difference. But today, the onset of diabetes in a type 1 is much more earlier because he has diabetic type 1 diabetes since almost during from his teenage days or so. So the onset of diabetic retinopathy is related more to the number of years you are suffering with diabetes. It has nothing to do with the type 1 or type 2. You can delay the onset of all, not only diabetic retinopathy, but kidney affection, heart problems, strokes. All these can be delayed by just keeping control of sugar. But I would add on that you should also control your blood pressure, your high, if you have high cholesterol, triglycerides, you should control them too, because these work in synergy.
Okay. Doctor, how much hope do you think stem cells can bring for diabetics, especially when it comes to treatment of eyes?
See, stem cell therapy is already being utilized for other ocular surface or eye surface disorders, and there's a lot of research going on for artificial retina, for gene therapy, and these are still in their infant stages at the moment, and there is really no breakthrough which is seen at the moment. But I would say in the near future, definitely diabetic retinopathy, gene therapy can help. The people who are prone to diabetic retinopathy, the gene therapy would definitely help them. But all said and done, there are very beautiful anti-VEGF treatment options and laser options for diabetic retinopathy. Previously we just had one option of laser treatment, but now we have we call them anti-VEGFs or vascular endothelial growth factor. These injections are injected inside the eye for diabetic retinopathy patients who have got swelling in the eye or swelling in the central portion of the eye, which is known as the macula. Once the macula is affected, today the macula is the part of the retina which is the most important part of the retina, where 90% of vision is seen, where macula gives you the fine vision. So if macula is affected in a diabetic, his vision is affected, and with the introduction of anti-VEGF injections, the treatment of macular edema or macular swelling has been revolutionized. So today we are using a combination of treatment of anti-VEGFs and laser to treat this or reverse these macular edema and macular swelling.
Doctor, although it may sound so much like a Hollywood movie, but then will it happen that a complete eye can be replaced through stem cells? Is that seen in the near future?
See, I don't foresee this because eye is a very complex structure. It is made up of different layers. It is made from ectoderm, endoderm and mesoderm. All three layers of which ecto meaning the external layer, meso meaning the middle layer and endo meaning the inner layer. The inner layer gives the nerves, the meso gives the substance to the eye and the external gives the external covering to the eye. So all these three layers, definitely today's stem cells are helping us to reconstruct the ocular surface. So we can reconstruct the ocular surface very well. Corneal transplants can be done. So the external eye disease has been to a certain extent helped by stem cells. There's a lot of research going on to grow artificial retina, because retina is a complex structure. It has got 10 layers. To recreate 10 nervous layers or neuronal layers is quite difficult, and we are in a very infant stage, and further research would occur where in the laboratory we could create an artificial retina and then we could think of replacing the retina. But a very novel and an interesting concept has occurred is by instead of the eye you put the camera captures whatever you see and directly put electrodes in the brain, transmit the energy and bypass the eye. If the eye is not working, don't bother about it. Just like an artificial limb, you have a camera to replace the eye which does the seeing work, and then the electrical information is converted to chemical energy and the whole thing is interpreted by the brain. So more research is happening on that front, and I feel that is more feasible. People, instead of replacing the whole eyeball, can have this robotic eye which can help them, or it can give you good vision. I see future in that.
What stage of research is that? That's something very exciting.
Today we have got an artificial retina which is known by the name of Argus 2. Argus 2 in India still has not been approved by the FDA. It is being used in America and in European countries. It has recently been used in the European continent, but the results are not very gratifying. The results are, it gives you black and white vision, it can give you not very sharp or colorful vision. So we are still in the nascent or the infant stage of the technology. More technology would change and better technology would come in, and I see the future in that.
Doctor, what is the rate of success for eye surgeries among diabetics?
See, diabetics, the rate of success today is much better because we have better drugs, and today the patients are also well aware that they have to keep a good control of diabetes, so the rate of infection is much lesser. Today we are doing surgeries which are minimal invasive, where it's a closed chamber surgery. It's not an open eye surgery, it's a closed chamber surgery, so the chances of contamination are much lesser. It is done with phacoemulsification or microphacoemulsification, where the incision size is for cataract surgery just 1.8 millimeters. So that is, I would just say, like a sewing needle, the size of a sewing needle. The cataract surgery is done, and it is done through with eye drop anesthesia. You no longer need to give injections in the eye to numb the eye. Just by putting eye drops, then the eyeball is numbed, and within a span of 6 to 8 minutes the cataract is done. Cataract is removed, a lens implant is put through 1.8 millimeters. Similarly, the retinal surgeries have also improved. Today the retinal surgeries are done through a 27 or a 25 gauge in puncture. Again, I would say it is around 1.2 millimeters of incision through which the retinal surgery is done. So today I would say the surgical surgically we have gone to an approach of a closed chamber approach where the eyeball is not opened with very small punctures, not incisions. So with these closed chamber incisions, the rate of success has improved. Better techniques to deal with diabetic retinopathy, with better antibiotics to deal with infection, and better compliance with the patient, awareness amongst the patient. The patient is always alert that he is a diabetic, he has to be on an alert, keep his sugars low, under control. That has helped us with a better success.
And can you tell us about any other technological advancement that is happening in eyes which would actually bring hope to diabetics? The last thing about hope?
See, technologically, as I told you, on the surgical front, we have minified, minimal invasive surgeries have happened. We are now doing surgeries through 1.2, 1.8 millimeters, and it's a closed chamber surgery. So it's not an open chamber surgery. That means what I mean by that, by a closed chamber, is that it's not exposed to the outside atmosphere of the operation theatre, even though it is sterile, but still it doesn't come in contact with the air, the external air. So thereby decreasing the contamination and thereby the infection rate in a diabetic. Secondly, better antibiotics has definitely helped us to curtail the infection rate in diabetics, because as you know, in diabetics, their own defense systems are weak, and that's why they are more prone to infections. There are now special contraptions which have come in, where you need not be an eye surgeon to capture an image of the retina. So this is known as a smart scope or a fundus scope or a fundus camera. Cheap versions of fundus cameras are now available in India, manufactured by Indian companies, by which we can photograph these diabetic retina images and detect diabetic retinopathy early. So all these have contributed to early detection and better treatment and better outcomes.
Better treatment and better outcomes. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us.